There's a moment when you rip a pack of cards, and for just a few seconds before you flip over that last card, you feel like you're 12 years old again. Today I gave my friend's son his very first ever pack of cards, and he is probably way too young to ever remember this. He had no idea who any of the players were. He didn't know any of the teams. He had no idea what a rookie card was or an insert. He wasn't chasing one of ones or parallels or holograms or relics or autos. But this kid had the time of his life. And you know what? His dad did too. His dad kept saying things like, man, this takes me back. He was talking about going to his parents' house and digging out his old cards. And I'm standing there and I'm filming it. I'm taking pictures, just kind of taking it all in. And I realized something. I don't remember my first pack of cards. I have a general idea of when I got into collecting, but I have no clue when I opened my first pack. But I know that my friend will always remember his son opening his first pack of cards. I know I will always remember him opening his first pack of cards. And thanks to my iPhone, one day he will remember opening his first pack of cards. But it reminded me of why I love the hobby. It's not about grading cards and getting gem mint 10s. It's not about buying low and flipping a card and making a profit or hitting a big money rookie card. It's about the moments and the moments that you share with your friends and your family. You know, watching him made me think back to when I was a kid. Like I said, I don't remember my first pack of cards. But I remember who I chased. I remember wanting a 1988 Topps Don Mattingly card. I wanted that card more than anything. I wanted any Yankee card. When I opened a pack of cards, I would flip through it hoping to see a Yankee. But I was happy to see any star. But I was a Yankee kid, and Don Mattingly was my favorite player on my favorite team. So that card meant something to me. And I didn't care if it was ripped to shreds, if it was crumbled up, if a dog ate it. If I had that card, I was happy. It wasn't about finding a PSA 10. I didn't care if it was a low pop card. I didn't care if it was signed. I didn't care if there was a relic in it. It was just about having my favorite player and getting his baseball card in that set. But here's the funny thing about collecting. Sometimes that doesn't matter either. I remember for a birthday one year, I was young. I mean, I must have been 6 or 7. My uncle gave me a Roger Clemens rookie card. He must have gone to a sports card shop and said, you know, my nephew's into cards. He wasn't a big sports guy, so I'm sure he had some help. And he gave me a stack of cards. And I remember seeing the Roger Clemens rookie. And I knew that that was a special card. Now, I was a Yankee fan, and I am sure that I knew that there was a rivalry back then between the Yankees and the Red Sox. But I could care less. I loved that card. And here's the funny thing about that, too. Fast forward 10 years, Roger Clemens is a Yankee. Even Wade Boggs was a Yankee. The teams don't matter. The logo on that card doesn't matter. What matters is that you know you're holding something significant. When I was a kid, cards were basically a currency. You know, there was no such thing as Venmo or Apple Pay. We had binders. And that Roger Clemens card, I knew that that was a good card. That card was like gold. That card sat in the center spot of the first page of my binder. Anytime I showed my friends my collection, that was the first card I showed them. Anytime a relative came over, I showed them my cards. That was the first card I showed them. When I look at it now, I think about that. It wasn't about the logo on the card. And I don't think it ever really was. Even now, I collect cards of players on teams that I may not root for. What mattered about that Roger Clemens card was that someone who I cared about gave me something that they thought I would care about. And that meant something. And when I think about that now, I get goosebumps thinking about it. I mean, this is like 30 years later. I don't think my uncle had any idea it would have that kind of an impact on me, but it did. These are the things that the hobby does. It connects you to your past. It connects you to moments with your friends and your family. And it reminds you why you love things. I remember getting a Beckett Price Guide every month. I used to read that religiously. I read every article. I knew which players were hot. I knew which players were not. I looked at the arrows. I compared them month over month. If my favorite player went up a dollar or two, that was important. It was like a stock market for me. But what I didn't realize at the time was I was learning things. You know, I learned about value. I learned about scarcity, supply and demand, learned about hype and perception. Those are things that Beckett taught me. And I'm sure that that was an important lesson to learn. And as a business owner these days, I'm sure that that helped lay the groundwork for the entrepreneurial spirit that I have. But what I really remember when I was reading those Beckett Price Guides, I just loved it. I loved learning about the cards. I would look at the cards from the 50s and the 60s, and I'd see how much they were worth. And I would check them every month to see if they would get higher or lower. I knew every player in those sets. I was just a fan of it. I loved it. And I think about the hobby now, and we have literal real-time markets. We know how much a card is at every moment. We have real-time comps. There are endless amounts of podcasts probably talking about which cards you should buy, which ones you shouldn't. We have slabs now. That didn't exist back then. There is no such thing as a PSA 10 rookie card. My Roger Clemens rookie was as good as anybody's. And I took mine in and out of a binder about 1,000 times. But my card was worth as much as a pristine one back then, because that's what Beckett said it was worth. These days we have grading debates. Is this a PSA 10? Is it a 9? How could I get a PSA 6? Beckett said my corners are bad. The surface isn't good. The edges aren't right. Didn't matter back then. These days we have hype cycles. Drake May makes the Super Bowl. His cards skyrocket. Drake May doesn't do so well in the Super Bowl. His cards plummet. Literally in days. We have live breaks and online auctions. There are $1 million sales that happen every day. There are more tools than ever for us to stay connected in the hobby. And I do feel like sometimes it makes us a bit further apart. Sometimes it can feel transactional. It can feel cold. But when I think about it, I don't think that feeling has really ever changed for me. When my friend's kid opened that pack today, he could care less about the comps. He didn't care about centering. He didn't know what centering was. He didn't think about whether he should send it to PSA or Beckett or SGC. What he cared about was that every card was different. Every card was a surprise. He liked that they were colorful. He liked that they were shiny. He liked that there was possibility that there might be another card behind the one that he was holding. And his dad, for just a few seconds, remembered what it was like to be a kid. And that's what this hobby does. It connects generations. It connects fathers and sons. It connects uncles and nephews. It connects us back to who we used to be when we were younger. And the older I get, the more I realize the things that I remember aren't the investments I made in cards. They're the moments that I had when I got those cards. I can tell you the story of probably every big card in my collection. Now, I've sold thousands of cards. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I have no idea how many cards I've sold. I have no idea the value of cards that I've sold. But I remember moments. I remember being at the National. I remember walking out of my hotel, and there was a group of people that saw a stack of cards in my hand and said, "Hey, are you selling those?" And I did a deal in the parking lot of my hotel. I remember getting in the car with my friend, and we laughed that I sold cards in the parking lot. And I remember talking to him and saying, hey, what should I do with this? And then I thought, what would be fun if I picked up a Michael Jordan rookie card? I picked up a PSA 8 Michael Jordan rookie sticker at the National because of the sale I made there. I remember going table to table, trying to find the perfect card at the right price. I remember it being Sunday. I remember that the show was closed. It was after the show had ended. I found one of the last tables up while other vendors were shutting down. This table was still up and running. They had the best looking one that I saw the whole day, and I got it at the perfect price. I remember I handed them a stack of paper, and I remember they handed me a piece of plastic with cardboard inside of it. And the materials of those items are worth pennies. The real world value were probably thousands. But the moment in that card in my collection and thinking back on it, that's priceless. I remember getting a Michael Jordan rookie card. I remember having a PSA 1 Michael Jordan rookie, and I thought it was the greatest card ever. And it looked great on the front. It had a great eye appeal. But the back, somebody must have glued it to a magazine. The back was all torn up. I remember trading that card at Fanatics Fest several times. I made several trades that day. I got a PSA 4 Michael Jordan from that. And I thought that was the greatest thing ever. And my friends laughed. I was able to turn a 1 into a 4. And then I remember finding a PSA 6. I remember trading in that PSA 4 and trading up to a PSA 6. And everyone was just laughing that I did it again. And I love that card. I'll never sell that card because it means something to me. Just like that Roger Clemens card means something to me. I'll never sell that either. Or that 1988 Topps Don Mattingly card. I'll never sell that card either. That's what this hobby does. It connects us. It connects us from generations. Like I said, it connects fathers and sons and uncles and nephews. It creates those moments. I don't remember my first pack. I will always remember my friend's son's first pack. And maybe that's the point. This hobby is not about the cardboard. It's about the stories and the moments that we have with each other. About those moments when we think about them, they take us back to when we were a kid. And for just a little bit of time, when we're a little bit older, we can remember what it was like to feel just a little bit younger. So we'll talk about market trends in the future, and we'll get into it, but we won't just talk about that. We're not just going to talk about big hits and misses, but we'll talk about that too. We're going to talk about the hobby. We're going to talk about sports. We'll talk about things that are valuable and whether they're going up or down. But we're also going to talk about why we chase things and why those stories are important. Why those memories hit so hard when we think back about it. Like I said, thinking back about that Roger Clemens card and my uncle giving me those cards for my birthday still gives me an emotion. It was a special gift because he gave me something that meant something to me. And I always remembered that. I think about this community, the community that we have. We can be hard on each other sometimes. If you ever look on a Reddit message board or listen to how people talk about other vendors or other customers at a card show or in a card store, we're hard on each other sometimes. Sometimes their comps are too high. They're selling a 10% over comp. They're only offering me 70% of the comp of this card. We're commoditizing these things when we should be cherishing them. If you find a card that you love, that's going to mean something to you. Maybe it's finishing a set. Maybe it's something you've wanted your whole life. Who cares if it's a little bit more expensive than you really want it to be? Because I'll tell you something. In 3, 5, 10 years, you'll never remember what you paid for that card. But you will always remember the feeling that you had when you finally got it. So that's why at the end of the day, for just a few seconds when you rip open that pack, take a second and relish it and think about the fact that the feeling you have was the same feeling whether you're 5 years old or 10 years old or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. There's magic in every piece of wax and every piece of cardboard that goes through our fingers, because there's that possibility of getting something that will stand out and create that moment that you'll remember for a long time. And that's what this is all about. That's what the Wax Hunters try to do. That's what we hope to talk about here. And that's why I'd like to welcome you to Wax Nation.